Okay, so family history, right? And this whole idea of Tikkun is pretty fascinating stuff. You've given us some YouTube videos, a website to really uh, dive into. And it seems like you're wanting to understand how the past, well, how influences the present, like maybe even uncover some hidden patterns in your own life.
It is fascinating, isn't it? It's like we're not just individuals. We're part of this larger story, this chain going back generations. And Tikkun is, well, it's right there in the heart of it all.
Yeah, for sure. So let's break that down a bit. What exactly is Tikkun, if we had to explain it simply?
In the simplest terms, Tikkun means rectification.
Mm.
Like it's this responsibility we have to repair the things that maybe our ancestors couldn't. It's about healing the soul, not just in this lifetime, but across generations. Think of it this way. Your family tree, it's a chain, right? And each link is a generation. Now, if there's a broken link somewhere way back, well, it can weaken the whole chain, even down to you. Tikkun is about fixing those broken links. It's about strengthening the chain for everyone.
That's that's a powerful image. So we're carrying like a bit of our family's history inside us, and that history can impact our lives even if we don't realize it.
You got it. One of the videos you shared actually quotes a verse from the Torah about this. It says, God remembers the iniquities of the fathers upon the children and the grandchildren to the third and the fourth generation. Pretty intense when you think about it.
Intense for sure. But you said earlier that it's not just about burdens, right? What about like the positive stuff, the good things we inherit?
Exactly. That's the beautiful part. We inherit positive information from our ancestors, too. Personality traits, talents, even resilience. You might have a knack for music or, I don't know, a passion for justice. And then you find out your great-grandmother was a musician or your grandfather fought for civil rights.
So it's like a spiritual inheritance. Can work for us or against us, depending.
Exactly. Now, one of the videos you sent is from Impulsa to Alma, which I think means boost your soul. They talk about this, the soul's journey, and how it can feel trapped in the physical body sometimes.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's like the soul is yearning for something more, something beyond just this physical world.
Right, and that something more. It's connection to the divine spark within us. They really emphasize nourishing the soul, spiritual food, like connecting with the Torah, prayer, acts of kindness. It's about aligning with our higher purpose.
So how does all this, the soul stuff, connect back to family history, to understanding these inherited patterns?
Well, the website you sent suggests that actually creating a family tree is a powerful tool. It's like holding up a mirror to your family's history, seeing yourself reflected in it.
Okay, I can see that. But how do we go beyond just seeing? How do we really understand those reflections? They mention transgenerational analysis. What's that about?
Transgenerational analysis, it's a way of looking at your family history to find repeating patterns, the unresolved conflicts that might be impacting your life now, like detective work almost, piecing together clues from the past to understand the present.
Whoa, bio-neuroemotion. That's a new one. What's that all about?
Oh, it's fascinating. BNE looks at how emotions and beliefs get encoded in our biology, passed down through generations. Like trauma, for example, can leave a physical imprint on our genes, and that imprint can be passed on to kids, grandkids, and so on. It's a more scientific approach, but it complements the Kabbalah view, I think.
So we're carrying around a lot more than just our own experiences, huh? There's this whole layer of ancestral information shaping our thoughts, our feelings, even our physical health.
You got it. And one of the videos quotes Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler. He said, watch your thoughts carefully, for a thought can literally create something alive.
Mm.
Pretty powerful, right?
Yeah, it makes you think about the responsibility we have. Our thoughts, they're not just impacting us, but maybe generations to come.
Exactly. So the question becomes, if this unconscious stuff is so powerful, how do we even start to understand it? What are we carrying? How's it affecting us?
That's what I'm wondering. The website mentioned looking for doubles in our family tree. What are those?
Doubles. They're relatives who share, well, similar things. Names, birth dates, physical features, or even like their life stories kind of repeat. It's like the unconscious is trying to signal us, hey, pay attention to this theme. You might notice a lot of women in your family have trouble with relationships. Or maybe there's financial struggles that keep popping up every generation.
And then they mentioned these affinity columns related to birth dates. What are those about?
Oh, that's interesting. It's about the connections revealed in families based on when people were born. It suggests people born in certain months, they might share similar challenges or, tendencies. Like all the firstborns in your family are leaders. Or everyone born in June is super creative. It helps map out these transgenerational influences.
Okay, so we've got Tikkun, the soul's journey, all this generational stuff. But what does it feel like to carry this weight, this phantom information they keep talking about? What is that, really?
Ah, yes, phantom syndrome. It's basically the idea that, we can carry energetic imprints from our ancestors. Even if we never met them, it's like their unfinished business, their traumas, maybe even their dreams get stuck in our energy field, weighing us down.
So if we're carrying all this baggage, how do we unpack it?
That's where the real work begins. And that's what we'll explore in part 2 of this deep dive.
Can't wait.
So we were talking about this phantom syndrome. It's a lot to take in, right? The idea that we could be carrying these, well, energetic imprints from our ancestors.
Yeah, no kidding. Makes you wonder, what does it even feel like to have a phantom? How does it show up in, like, everyday life?
Well, the videos, they point to some specific things that might be signs. Like if you ever felt really quiet, withdrawn in situations where you'd normally be more outgoing.
That's funny you should mention that. I've always been kind of shy, but sometimes it feels like more than that, Like a heaviness that keeps me from really expressing myself.
Right. And what about restlessness? Like you can't quite settle,
Ah.
even when there's no reason to be anxious.
Oh, yeah. All the time. I always figured it was just me and my personality. But maybe there's more to it.
Could be. They also talk about trouble sleeping, feeling blocked in certain areas of life, or just this general sense that, life is thick, like wading through mud, almost like the weight of the past is literally slowing you down.
That's vivid and kind of creepy, if I'm honest.
It can be, yeah. But the thing is, awareness, that's the first step to healing. Once you start to see these patterns, you can start to understand where they're coming from and then how to deal with them.
Okay, so say we notice these signs. We think, okay, maybe I do have a phantom. Then what?
The videos, they actually give some pretty specific advice. They talk about talking to God. Not just, general prayer, but actually having a conversation, pouring out your heart, asking for guidance, for support in cutting these inherited programs.
They even say to like have imaginary conversations with the ancestor who you think might be the source of the phantom. That seems pretty intense.
It can be, yeah. But remember, this is the unconscious we're dealing with. Sometimes you got to go beyond logic, connect with a deeper part of yourself. And these conversations, even if they're in your head, they can be powerful. To acknowledge the past, release resentment, seek forgiveness.
Forgiveness keeps coming up. Seems like a big deal.
It is. Forgiveness is, well, it's key to healing for ourselves and for our ancestors. It's about understanding that they did the best they could with what they knew, what they had,
Yeah.
letting go of judgment towards them and ourselves.
That's tough, though. It's so easy to fall into that trap. Like, why did they do that? Or how could they let this happen?
I know, it's natural to feel that way.
Mhm.
But judgment, it just keeps us stuck in that cycle of pain. The videos, they encourage us to approach our family history with compassion, with understanding. Remember, they were products of their time. They had their own challenges.
So not blaming them, but seeing how their choices, their circumstances, maybe they're echoing in our lives now.
Exactly. One of the videos uses this analogy. It's like hurt people hurt people. We're all connected. And those wounds, they can get passed down if we don't choose to heal them.
Kind of a scary thought. But also, it makes it sound like we have a lot of power to break that cycle.
We do. The videos are very clear about that. We're not meant to suffer. We have the power to break free, to step out of those shadows, create a better future.
But it sounds like it takes work, real conscious effort.
It does. Cutting those programs, making real change, it's not always easy. It's like we have to reprogram our unconscious, replace those old beliefs with new ones. It takes effort, repetition, and being willing to step outside your comfort zone.
So it's like, what, learning a new language or something? Takes time, patience, practice.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get help. The website, it's got resources, consultations, workshops. You don't have to go it alone.
Good to know. At first when we started talking about this, it felt so overwhelming. Like, where do I even begin? But now it's more like a journey, not just a destination. Small steps can make a difference.
That's the spirit. And speaking of small steps, the videos talk about how important it is to align our actions with our words, our thoughts. It's about integrity, being true to yourself, making choices that support your soul.
Walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right. Bringing your conscious and unconscious into alignment so you're not working against yourself. It's like making sure your head and your heart are on the same page, working together, creating a life that reflects your values.
I like that. It's taking this ancient wisdom, but making it practical for today. Empowering.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about all this. It's not about dwelling on the past. It's about using the past to empower our present. It's realizing we have a choice. Be ruled by those patterns or become the creators of our own lives.
A real message of hope, of possibility. And this whole Tikkun thing, it feels like it's bigger than just us, you know? It's collective.
You're right. This deep dive has taken us from, like, the individual soul to the soul of humanity. The website talks about this generation concluding global reparations. It's like a turning point. We can heal ourselves, but also generations past and future.
Whoa, that's pretty amazing. So where do we go from here?
Great question. And that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
So we've really gone deep on how the past can shape us, carrying those phantoms, the patterns, heavy stuff, but there's also, I don't know, a sense of like, we're not just stuck, you know?
You're right. It's not about being a victim. It's about understanding that journey and then, well, taking the reins ourselves.
The website mentioned this generation concluding global reparations, like some massive reset. But practically, what does that mean for someone just trying to live a good life now?
Think of it less like a single event and more a shift happening. Like we're riding this wave. Generations before us did the hard part, and now we're at the top, able to see further because of them.
Right, there was that line, the dwarf sees further standing on the shoulders of the giant. We inherit the burdens and the strengths, right? What they learned from all that.
Exactly. It changes how we think about legacy.
Yeah.
Not just money or stuff, but their resilience, the values, even what they learned from messing up. We're standing taller because of them.
But we still got to do something with that inheritance. It's not just going to magically fix everything, right?
The sources are very clear on that. Awareness is the first step. Then comes action. Do we let those old programs run the show? Or do we become the, the conscious architects of our own lives?
So how do we do that? Therapy, talking to God, those ancestor conversations? Is there one right way?
There's no, like, one size fits all. But the key is taking ownership. The website talks about cutting those programs, releasing those phantom energies. Some people use therapy, some use spiritual practices. Even journaling or art can be powerful.
Yeah. It's like finding the language your soul speaks, then rewriting the script, huh? And it's not always this big dramatic thing, is it? It can be small daily choices that move us in the right direction.
You got it. What you eat, how you talk to yourself, those beliefs you hold on to, are they even yours? It's awareness, then consistent action. Small course corrections add up over time.
So someone listening now, feeling maybe a little overwhelmed, what's the one thing they can do to start applying this stuff today?
Simple but important. Pay attention. Notice the thoughts that keep coming back, those reactions that seem way too big for the situation. Ask yourself, is this even mine? Not to blame anyone, but to understand. That curiosity, that's what gets the whole process going.
We're like detectives of our own souls. And the case isn't about guilt, it's finding the truth so we can finally be free.
I love that. And remember, it's not a solo mission. The sources say our ancestors, they're rooting for us, they want us to succeed, or maybe they couldn't. We're fixing things not just for ourselves, but for them too, you know?
That's a beautiful thought to end on. We're all in this big cosmic story, and our own healing, it goes outward, touches everyone. We're not alone, and our lives, they really do matter.
Couldn't have said it better. May this knowledge help you write your next chapter. One full of healing, purpose, and the joy of becoming, well, truly you.
Until next time, keep diving deep.